The person you pretend to be is slowly destroying you. Imagine carrying a backpack every single day. At first, it isn't heavy. In fact, you barely notice it's there. But every year, someone quietly slips another stone inside. One stone for every time you swallowed what you really wanted to say. One stone for every time you smiled when you were hurting. One stone for every version of yourself you abandoned just to keep someone else comfortable. Years pass. The backpack becomes heavier. Your shoulders ache. Your energy disappears. Relationships become exhausting. Work feels empty. Life starts feeling like something you're surviving instead of living. Then one day, someone asks you a simple question. What do you actually want? And you freeze. Not because you don't have an answer, because somewhere along the way, you stopped knowing. Because you've spent so much time becoming who everyone else needed, you forgot who you were before the performance began. We aren't born wearing masks. No child enters the world pretending. Children laugh loudly, cry openly, ask impossible questions, dance without embarrassment. They don't perform. They simply exist. But then something changes. Maybe they're told, stop crying. Be good. Don't be so sensitive. You're too much. Why can't you be more like your brother? Little by little, a lesson is learned. Certain parts of me are welcome. Other parts are not. So the child begins editing themselves. Not because they want to, because belonging feels like survival. The cost of becoming likable. By adulthood, most people have become experts at being acceptable. They know exactly how to avoid conflict, how to make people happy, how to keep the peace, how to become whoever the room needs them to be. And everyone compliments them. You're so easy to talk to. You're always so strong. You never ask for anything, but what people call maturity, sometimes, is just highly refined self-abandonment. Because every relationship asks a question. Can I meet the real you? The tragedy is, many people don't know who that is anymore. The invisible exhaustion. Have you ever noticed how exhausting it is to constantly manage other people's opinions? To wonder if they still like you, if you disappointed them, if they're upset, if you said too much, if you didn't say enough. That isn't confidence. That's emotional hypervigilance. And hypervigilance steals enormous amounts of energy. Not because life is hard, but because pretending is. The human nervous system was never designed to maintain multiple identities. One for work, one for family, one for relationships, one for social media, one for strangers. Eventually, the performance becomes heavier than the truth ever was. Why? Why authenticity feels so scary? People often say, just be yourself, as if it's simple. But for someone who learned that authenticity once led to rejection, being themselves doesn't feel freeing. It feels dangerous, because authenticity carries risk. Some people won't understand you. Some relationships may end. Some versions of your life won't survive. But here's the paradox. The mask protects you from rejection, while simultaneously preventing real connection. Because people cannot truly love someone they've never actually met. The life that begins after the mask. Imagine waking up one morning and no longer measuring your worth by how useful, how agreeable, or how impressive you are. Imagine saying what you actually think, asking for what you actually need, resting without guilt, disappointing people without believing you've failed them. Not because you've become selfish, because you've finally become honest. That's where peace begins. Not when everyone approves of you, but when you no longer need them to. The hardest prison to escape is the one built from other people's expectations. Because eventually, the bars become invisible. You forget they're even there. Until one day, you realize you've spent years living a life that looked successful, looked responsible, looked admirable, but never actually felt like yours. So here's the question. If no one expected anything from you, who would you become? And perhaps an even harder one, would you recognize that person anymore?